Hi class! Welcome back to Mr. White's Art Studio. Today we're going to be looking at some examples and getting the introduction and explanation for our first main art unit and artwork, which is making an original visual journal and a unique, self-expressive, and creative cover for that visual journal. So let's dig into it. Our first project is to design a cover for your visual journal that shares who you are in some way, some significant way, while also being an original, creative design that is well composed and made with strong craftsmanship. We're going to take a quick look at what that means, and we're going to talk a little bit about how achieving that goal helps you to develop all 5 of your artistic thinking skills. Things like innovating and experimenting, refining work and completing it, presenting finished work, responding to work of others, and connecting, understanding on a personal level the work of one another. Right here, I have shared with you a copy of the rubric that we're going to use for this project. Couple of things to note about the rubric. Notice the top 3 fields are content 1, 2, and 3. Those are things that will change based on the projects that I assign. The bottom 2 fields are planning and revision, as well as craftsmanship, and those are going to be constant on the rubrics that you get from me. Planning and revision is about how well you think through your idea, you sketch it out, and then you revise those plans to make your final draft even better. And craftsmanship is the actual final quality of the visual work. So those are always considerations with artwork. And now we're going to look a little more specifically at the content of this particular unit. Content 1 is to be self-expressive. That is, artists often use their visual work to express who they are, their personality, their experience, their hopes and dreams. Often, artists are better able to understand themselves and their motivations and experiences by making artwork about that and to help them process and understand themselves. How you depict yourself or artistically is up to you. But we're trying to show what makes you, you. Whether that's a collection of objects or people, a scene from your history or your imagination, or lots of other creative ideas. Remember, this is a student-led assignment, but we are trying to have the artwork fundamentally express something important about you or your identity. We find that sharing our personality through artwork is a great way to let others see that part of ourselves. Additionally, content number 2 is about having our artwork be well composed and well designed. So composition is the arrangement of stuff on the page in the artwork. And design is arranging that thing, making that composition look appealing. There are a bunch of principles of design, things like using objects and placing them in an even way to make a rhythm, having a different proportion between one thing and another, so that one thing takes up a lot of the weight. In the example shown on the screen right now, both examples, the black and white and the color version, appear to be close-ups that are almost abstracted. They look like butterfly wings. The proportion of page that is butterfly wing is very large, and most of the rest is negative space. We also think about things like contrast, which is the difference between two opposites like black and white, or complementary colors like yellow and purple. And emphasis, which is when you pay extra attention to one part of an or area of the composition. There are other principles too, and we're going to do some preliminary work exploring that. So try to apply the principles of design in a way that also uses at least one compositional strategy. So we're going to learn about those in a preliminary exercise as well. Finally, content number 3 is we want the artwork to be original and creative. That is to say, your journal cover should express something about you, the unique, wonderful, wacky person that you are. In order to share something about yourself, it's important that your imagery be original. If you find a design or a picture you love, perhaps your favorite sports team's logo, for instance, you can definitely borrow that element. Artists do that a lot. That's called appropriation. But you have to either add it to the rest of a composition that you've made yourself, make some significant changes to the logo, or have it as some part but not the whole. If you appropriate another artist's work, and the designer who made that logo is absolutely an artist, if you appropriate the work and you don't give them credit, and you don't make your own changes or additions or alterations, that's not appropriation, that's plagiarism. So, you're going to add your own twist, your own context, your own changes. And if you borrow images or elements from other people, that's totally fine. But we want a creative and original artwork. And if you don't borrow things from others, that's even finer. Great not to. So, creative and original, making something that you've never seen before. So those are the things that we're going to be assessed on in this unit. Now, there are a few different pieces or components to this project that all help to build our understanding and our conception so that we have a greater understanding of the whole unit and our goals here. The requirements, starting in order, we're going to complete an exercise exploring some compositional strategies, and we're also going to add a little bit of an exercise around principles of design, so you remember those. After that, you're going to apply those compositional strategies as you make 3 or more thumbnail sketches showing 3 or more different ideas for what your journal cover could look like. Once you've finished your sketches and you have a pretty clear idea of what you want to make, then you're going to take some time with a partner and you're going to do an in-progress critique where they'll ask you some questions and you'll get some feedback on how to improve your idea. You're going to submit that work to me digitally, and I'll give you a little bit of feedback as well. And after that, you're going to take the feedback that you've gotten from me and a peer, and you're going to turn your idea into a full-sized journal cover. Finally, after we're done making the artwork, we have some artist statement reflection and sharing that we're going to do. We're going to work with a partner and share our work, and you're also going to reflect either by writing or recording yourself, exploring your work process. The final thing is to submit a self-assessment, which is just scoring yourself on the rubric that I've already shared with you, along with a photo of the artwork, your journal cover, and you're going to submit that all to the Google Classroom. So we start with some compositional strategies and sketching, and I have pictured here 4 sketches that I made for the journal covers that I have made for this project. So these are thumbnail sketches. When we make thumbnail sketches, notice we divide our page into smaller boxes, and each box represents the whole page. Thumbnail sketches let us work out ideas quickly and explore the arrangement of objects without needing to put a huge amount of time into making a finished and full-size project. So we're going to do a couple of quick exercises exploring strategies that artists use to arrange their pages effectively and different principles that can be used in design. And then we're going to apply those skills, principles, and strategies as we make those 3 or more sketches. And you see that I've made 4. Notice that I have one that's in color and a couple that aren't. You use color on this as you want to. If color is going to be an important part, like for instance, the example that I used the color for, I was trying to make a more abstract piece that still represented some aspects of my personality. So I used the bright orange, which are the sparks from the blacksmithing, which is the major type of art making that I do. I used some blue lines that are curving to make it look like rippling or water. I like to go kayaking and fishing. I'm very much like to hang out in the water. And at the back are a sort of abstract pattern of leaves, which I also like to go hiking and, spend as much time as possible outdoors. So I've put a lot of my interests and personality into that sketch, but I needed color to explore it, and so I colored it. Beside that, I have an image that shows myself with my cat, and I have always kind of identified with satyrs as far as mythical creatures, and so I gave myself some horns and little backwards goat legs because I thought that'd be cool, and you can see I'm holding a pair of tongs, so referencing my blacksmithing as well. Now, I ended up not using either of those, but you can see both of these ideas are very different. Sometimes your idea might be very representational, like the picture of me and my cat, or it might be very abstract, like the patterns and colors that are most of what you see on the right-hand top example. So you can make a wide range of types of artwork for this, as long as your idea expresses who you are, is creative and well designed, and is original. So we're going to practice our compositional strategies and our principles of design, and then you're going to apply that practice into making some thumbnail sketches. Once you've completed those thumbnail sketches, you're going to pick an idea of your sketches, one of your sketches that you like the best, and you're going to share it with a partner. You're going to work with that partner to do a pair share interview, and I've got a worksheet that asks a few questions about that. You're each going to take a turn so that one of you will share your artwork and get feedback from the partner, and in that time, your partner is really just watching, listening, and thinking about what you say. And then you're going to swap, and you'll give them good feedback on their artwork. Once you're completed with all that, you're going to submit a photo of your preferred sketch, along with the pair share interview worksheet, to the assignment in your Google Classroom. I will ask you some questions and provide you feedback there, where you can review it when it's convenient for you, and you can ask follow-up questions as well. After that, you're going to be actually making the cover to your journal, and that's the longest time period for this unit. We have several classes for that, and that's just taking the ideas that you've already thought about and refined and improved and planned out, and making it into an actual journal cover. We close out the unit and every unit with some reflection and sharing. This helps us with the artistic thinking skills of presenting and responding and connecting to work. So this involves doing a reflective artist's statement where you think back about your process, your work habits, what happened, what went well, what was a struggle for you, what you learned, and how you feel about your work. And you either write a statement or you record yourself giving a little talk about your artwork. After that, then I ask that you either present your work, your artwork, your journal cover, in a pair share interview with a partner, or as a part of a group discussion. And in the group critique, I will facilitate that conversation. There's a little bit less work needed, but it still can be a little stressful to share our work with a whole bunch of people. So either one. And of course, I ask you to submit a photo of your finished artwork along with a complete self-assessment. Now, I just want to take a quick moment here and show you two different examples of my cover design that I decided to stick with. And for both of them, I made the bottom half black and white and the top half using basic colored pencils. My goal here is to show that because we as the art teachers aren't providing many materials, you can still make interesting pictures all in black and white, or using just the basic colored pencils. I only used maybe 4 or 5 colors on each section. But I want you to notice, take a look at these two, take a moment and think. Because on the left-hand side, I have an example that is a grade of about a 2. And on the right-hand side, the example is about a 3 or a 3+ score. So What is the difference between those two? To me, the biggest difference are these few things, is detail. So I added a lot more detail into my better version. Things like having a variety of texture. So there's texture that's different in the grass compared to the tree, compared to the river. All of those have a different texture. And I made the texture just by marking the paper in a different way. And the benefit of that is each item stands out. I've used the space effectively so that every area is activated in some way. Even negative space, even the sky around the flowers, that still gets colored in. We know that a blue sky would have a color or a tone if it was in black and white. And that leads me to value, especially if you're drawing in black and white, like on my bottom half. Using a wide range of values, that is, using some things that are very light and some things that are very dark, and every value in between, really helps to make that image more interesting, more engaging, and to help people to really understand what we're even looking at. So, as you're considering this work, think about texture, about space, about value, and how you can use limited tools to make your artwork more awesome. So, I know that's a lot to think about, and there's a lot of parts to this, but I hope that you guys have a great time with this project. I'm super excited to see the artwork that you make. Have fun and happy making.